I think it's definitely something that's going to be expected from big network providers such as Huawei and your competitors. And you're seeing, not just Huawei talking about this. I mean, your competitors are well. Everybody's realizing that the small cell itself, let's say the product, is just the beginning of the solution. Obviously, everybody's talked to death, the entire issue of, how do you deploy them, get the sites, get the backhaul, the power, and all those issues. So now you're seeing across the industry that the larger vendors, the ones that do have scale to them, are putting together these types of initiatives. And I certainly think that people are going to expect it as probably the best way to scale up these networks, especially when we're talking about, the metro sites or say public enterprise type sites such as airports or malls. I mean, there's still a lot of education that needs to go on with the different people that have different stakes within these deployments, and also in terms of how to build different type programs to roll them out more efficiently.
Okay, so the other forward.
Well, first, I congratulate Huawei for taking on, I think, what's the harder part of the equation. I mean, the deployments are hard enough, but then the applications is going to be crucial. Okay, I think we got to change kind of the value behind the small cell, especially when we talk, say, the indoors enterprise model. Currently, when it comes to, say, licensed spectrum, enterprises see that as being the domain of the operator, something that they should pay for. Obviously, to get more of these small cells out there, we got to shift the value so that the enterprise actually sees the small cell as an extension of their LAN. And that's going to require applications to do that, so that you kind of change that entire business paradigm around the small cell. From where I'm sitting, there really seems to be still in the early days. There's a lot of talk and a lot of recognition of the importance of the application. You're seeing different partnerships come together throughout the mobile ecosystem to start developing those applications. Even more on an anecdotal level, I'm starting to hear more about enterprises being more proactive, knowing that there's small cells out there and going to the operator to learn more about deploying them. But I would say as a whole, though, really haven't seen that kind of traction yet. We haven't seen any kind of application where I can say, this has really changed the model, or this has changed, the shipment levels, create any kind of great shift in the market. I really think we're still in the early days of that, but I do think you can clearly see where everybody's kind of coming together and working towards that direction.
Okay, so
Absolutely, absolutely. We don't have the reference cases. We don't have, still like the application people can get their hands around, but it's certainly you're seeing a lot of work coming together to move things in that area. I guess we can kind of divide this question up in two parts. First is just the portfolio, the small cell itself. And when I look at that, Huawei across the spectrum against its competitors, I think, Huawei's definitely in a very good position. I don't see any glaring weaknesses there that I think, when it comes to that part, Huawei's set well. Obviously, still think Huawei and as a whole, I can say for the market, still have more work on that other side, going back to the application part we spoke about. I think certainly, Huawei probably still needs to develop tools out there to help around, like I said, the decision matrix, where they can kind of walk operators and enterprises and such through kind of a decision matrix, kind of streamline the process. When do you split a cell? When do you add a macro? When do you start going to the metro cell? And same on the enterprise. The enterprise small cell is really part of broader indoor coverage space, which Huawei's in as well, with DAS as well. So kind of talking about that, when do you go to the DAS? When do you go to, say, the LAMP side? When do you use the Pico? Different scenarios there to streamline that. And really a lot of it's also going to come down probably is about, how do you take these different experiences in these smaller trials and start to scale them up so that the different things that you learn can become more routine, more mechanical, so you can really start to push things more in higher volumes. So, I think that's probably an area that Huawei needs to work on, but I don't think Huawei's alone in that area.
Okay, very good. So I think that was very useful feedback.